The morning air was crisp and fresh as Prince William and Kate Middleton stepped out of their black car at the Children's Hospital. The sun was just beginning to rise higher in the sky, casting long golden shadows across the parking lot. Kate smoothed down her beautiful blue dress and checked her appearance one last time in the car window. William adjusted his tie and looked up at the tall hospital building in front of them. Both of them had visited many hospitals before, but something about today felt different and special. Inside the hospital, on the third floor, 8-year-old Emma sat quietly by her window. She had been staying at this hospital for almost 3 months now. The little girl pressed her small face against the cool glass and watched all the excitement happening outside. There were news reporters with big cameras, security guards in dark suits, and people with clipboards running around looking very busy and important. Emma had lost all of her beautiful curly brown hair because of her cancer treatments. The medicine that was supposed to make her better had taken away the thing she loved most about herself. Now she wore colorful scarves and pretty hats that her mother brought from home. Today she had chosen her favorite pink scarf with little flowers on it. Her mother had tied it carefully around her head that morning, making sure it looked just right. The little girl had been fighting her illness for 2 whole years. Some days were good days when she felt strong and could play with the other children. Other days were hard days when she felt too tired to even sit up in bed. Today was one of her better days, which made her happy because she had heard that very special visitors were coming to see all the children. Emma's parents had told her the night before that a real prince and princess were going to visit the hospital. But Emma did not really believe them. She thought maybe they were just trying to make her feel better about being sick for so long. In her mind, princes and princesses only lived in the fairy tale books that her grandmother read to her every single night before bedtime. The nurses had been talking excitedly all morning about the royal visit. Emma heard them whispering in the hallway outside her room. They were saying things like, "Can you believe they are really coming here? And I wonder what the princess will wear today." All this talk made Emma curious, but she still did not think it could be true. From her window, Emma could see more and more people gathering outside. She saw fancy cars arriving and men in expensive suits talking into small devices. There were also people holding beautiful flower bouquets and colorful balloons. Everything looked like a big celebration was about to happen. Emma's roommate Sarah was sleeping in the bed next to her. Sarah was only 6 years old and had been at the hospital even longer than Emma. The two girls had become best friends during their stay. They would color pictures together, watch movies on the small television, and tell each other stories to pass the time during their long days of treatment. As Emma continued watching from her window, she saw something that made her heart beat faster. A beautiful woman with long brown hair was getting out of one of the fancy cars. The woman was wearing the most elegant dress Emma had ever seen. Next to her was a tall, handsome man in a perfect dark suit. They both looked exactly like the prince and princess from Emma's favorite storybooks. Could her parents have been telling the truth after all? Were real royalty actually coming to visit sick children like her? Emma rubbed her eyes to make sure she was not dreaming. When she looked again, the beautiful couple was still there, walking slowly toward the hospital entrance and smiling at all the people who had gathered to see them. Kate Middleton walked gracefully across the hospital parking lot, her high heels clicking softly on the pavement with each step. The morning breeze gently moved her long brown hair, and her blue dress flowed beautifully around her as she moved. She was smiling and waving at all the people who had gathered outside to see her and Prince William. But then something caught her attention that made her stop walking completely. High up on the third floor of the hospital building, Kate noticed a small face pressed against a window. It was the face of a little girl who looked to be about 8 or 9 years old. The child was wearing a colorful scarf wrapped around her head, and her big eyes were staring down at all the excitement below. There was something very special about this little girl that made Kate feel a warm feeling in her heart. Prince William was walking beside his wife, also smiling and greeting the crowd of people. He noticed that Kate had suddenly stopped moving and was looking up at the hospital building. William followed her gaze and saw exactly what had captured his wife's attention. The little girl in the window looked so curious and hopeful, but also a little bit sad and lonely. Kate pointed up toward the window where Emma was watching them. She leaned close to William and whispered something quietly in his ear. William nodded his head and smiled in a way that showed he completely understood what his wife was thinking. They had both seen the same thing in that little girl's face, and it had touched both of their hearts in the same moment. The royal couple had originally planned to start their hospital visit in the main children's ward on the first floor. Their schedule was carefully planned by their assistants, and they were supposed to meet with the hospital directors first. But seeing Emma's face in the window had changed everything for both of them. Sometimes the most important things in life cannot be planned ahead of time. Kate looked at the security guards and assistants who were walking with them. She told them that she and William wanted to change their plans. Instead of going to the main ward first, they wanted to find the little girl who had been watching them from the third-floor window. The security team looked a little confused because this was not part of their original plan, but they agreed to the change. William took Kate's hand as they walked toward the hospital entrance. Both of them felt excited about meeting the little girl, but they also felt a little nervous. They wondered what illness had brought such a young child to the hospital. They hoped that whatever was wrong, the little girl was getting better and would be able to go home to her family soon. The hospital staff members were waiting inside the entrance to welcome the royal visitors. The doctors and nurses were all dressed in their best uniforms and looked very excited to meet Prince William and Kate. The hospital director stepped forward to shake hands with them and welcome them to the children's hospital. But Kate politely interrupted the formal welcome. She asked the hospital director if they could please visit the little girl on the third floor first, the one who had been watching from the window. The director looked surprised by this request because it was not part of their planned tour, but he immediately agreed to take them there. As they walked toward the elevator, Kate felt her heart beating a little faster. She did not know why, but she felt that meeting this particular little girl was going to be something very special and important. William squeezed her hand gently, showing that he felt exactly the same way about their unexpected change of plans. The elevator ride to the third floor felt like it took forever, even though it was only a few seconds. Kate kept thinking about the little girl's face in the window and wondering what her name was. William stood quietly beside his wife, but she could tell that he was also thinking about the same thing. The hospital director explained that the third floor was where the children with serious illnesses stayed for longer treatments. When the elevator doors opened, Kate and William followed the director down a long hallway. The walls were painted in bright, cheerful colors with pictures of rainbows, flowers, and cartoon characters. Even though the decorations were meant to make children happy, both Kate and William felt a little sad thinking about all the sick children who had to stay in this place away from their homes. They stopped in front of a room with the number 312 on the door. The hospital director knocked gently and then slowly opened the door. Inside the room, Emma was still sitting by her window, but now she had turned around to see who was coming into her room. When she saw Prince William and Kate walking through her doorway, her mouth opened wide with complete surprise and amazement. Emma could not believe what she was seeing with her own eyes. The beautiful woman from the fairy tale books was actually standing right there in her hospital room. Kate was even more gorgeous in real life than she looked in all the pictures Emma had seen. Her dress was the most beautiful shade of blue, and her smile was so warm and kind that it made Emma feel safe and happy immediately. Prince William looked exactly like the brave princes from all of Emma's favorite stories. He was tall and handsome, and when he smiled at her, Emma felt like she was the most important person in the whole world. She tried to sit up straighter in her hospital bed, but she felt embarrassed about the colorful scarf covering her bald head. Kate walked slowly toward Emma's bed, her elegant dress flowing gracefully around her legs as she moved. She did not seem to care at all about getting her expensive clothes dirty or wrinkled. Without any hesitation, Kate sat down right on the edge of Emma's bed, making the mattress dip slightly under her weight. The princess was so close that Emma could smell her lovely perfume. Kate reached out her hand and gently touched Emma's small fingers. Her touch was soft and warm, and it made Emma feel less scared and more confident. Kate looked around the room and noticed all the colorful drawings and pictures that were taped to the walls beside Emma's bed. There were drawings of houses, flowers, animals, and people, all created with crayons and markers. Kate asked Emma in a sweet, gentle voice to tell her about all the beautiful artwork on the walls. At first, Emma felt too shy to speak because she had never talked to a real princess before. But Kate's voice was so kind and interested that Emma slowly began to find her courage. She started by pointing to one small drawing of a dog and explaining that it was her pet buddy who was waiting for her at home. As Emma began talking about her pictures, her voice grew stronger and more excited. She forgot all about being sick and tired. She forgot about her missing hair and the scary hospital machines. All she could think about was sharing her drawings with the most beautiful princess in the whole world, who was listening to every single word she said as if it was the most fascinating story ever told. Prince William pulled a chair close to Emma's bed and sat down so he could hear every word the little girl was saying. He leaned forward with his elbows on his knees, showing that he was completely interested in everything Emma wanted to share with them. This made Emma feel even more special because she had never had such important people pay so much attention to her before. Emma pointed to her favorite drawing on the wall. It was a picture of a big castle with tall towers and colorful flags flying from the top. In front of the castle, she had drawn 4 stick figures holding hands. The figures were supposed to be her mother, her father, herself, and her dog Buddy. She had used her brightest crayons to make the picture as cheerful and happy as possible. Emma told Prince William and Kate that this was her dream castle where she planned to live when she got completely better and could leave the hospital forever. Her eyes sparkled with excitement as she described each room that she had imagined inside the castle. She said there would be a huge kitchen where her mother could bake chocolate chip cookies every day, and a big living room where her father could watch football games on television. The little girl explained that her bedroom in the dream castle would have the biggest, most comfortable bed in the world, with soft pillows and warm blankets in every color of the rainbow. She said there would also be a special room just for Buddy, with toys and treats, and a window where he could watch for squirrels in the yard outside. Kate listened carefully to every detail of Emma's dream castle. She asked thoughtful questions that showed she really cared about Emma's ideas and plans. When Emma mentioned that she wanted to have a beautiful garden around her castle, Kate's face lit up with genuine interest and excitement. She asked Emma what kinds of flowers she would plant in her special garden. Emma became more animated as she talked about her garden plans. She said she would plant roses in every color, especially pink ones, because pink was her favorite color. She also wanted sunflowers that would grow as tall as the castle towers, and daisies that she could pick to make flower crowns for herself and her mother. She described how she would have tea parties in the garden every afternoon when the weather was nice and sunny. Prince William smiled widely as he listened to Emma's dreams. He told her that her castle sounded like the most wonderful place he had ever heard of, even better than any real castle he had ever visited. This compliment made Emma giggle with happiness and pride. She felt like the smartest, most creative person in the world when the prince praised her imagination. Kate asked Emma if she had ever been to a real tea party before. Emma shook her head and explained that she had been in the hospital for so long that she had not been able to do many fun things that other children got to do. But she said that her grandmother had told her all about proper tea parties and how ladies should sit up straight and hold their cups carefully. The conversation continued for several more minutes, with Emma describing more and more details about her dream life after she got better. She talked about the adventures she would have with Buddy, the friends she would invite to visit her castle, and all the places she wanted to travel to see when she was strong and healthy again. Both Kate and William could see that talking about her dreams was making Emma feel happy and hopeful. The little girl's cheeks had turned slightly pink with excitement, and her eyes were bright and full of life. They realized that sometimes the best medicine for a sick child is simply having someone listen to their hopes and dreams with genuine care and interest. As their conversation continued, Emma's voice became quieter and more serious. She looked down at her hands and started fidgeting with the edge of her pink scarf. Kate noticed the change in Emma's mood and gently asked if something was bothering her. Emma hesitated for a moment before sharing what was really on her mind and in her heart. Emma told Kate and William that her biggest worry was about her 9th birthday, which was coming up in just 1 month. She said that her greatest wish was to have her beautiful curly hair grow back before her special day arrived. Emma explained that she wanted to look pretty and normal in her birthday photographs, just like she did in all the pictures from before she got sick. The little girl's eyes filled with tears as she talked about how much she missed her hair. She said that every morning when she woke up, she would touch her head hoping that maybe her hair had magically grown back during the night. But every morning, she felt only smooth skin under her fingers, which made her feel sad and different from other children her age. Kate felt her own eyes getting watery as she listened to Emma's heartfelt confession. She could see how much this meant to the brave little girl who had already been through so much pain and difficulty. Without thinking about it, Kate reached up and began to slowly untie the beautiful silk scarf that was wrapped elegantly around her own neck. The scarf was one of Kate's most treasured accessories. It was made of the finest silk in a lovely cream color, with delicate blue flowers embroidered all over it. The blue flowers matched perfectly with her dress, and the scarf had been a special gift from William on their wedding anniversary. It was expensive and beautiful, and Kate wore it only on the most important occasions. But in that moment, sitting next to Emma in the hospital room, Kate knew exactly what she wanted to do with her precious scarf. She carefully removed it from around her neck and held it gently in her hands. The silk felt smooth and soft, and it still held the faint scent of Kate's lovely perfume. Prince William watched his wife with admiration and love as he realized what she was planning to do. He had seen Kate's generous heart many times before, but this moment showed him once again why he had fallen in love with such a compassionate and caring woman. He said nothing, but his eyes showed that he completely supported what Kate was about to do. Kate moved closer to Emma and began to carefully wrap the beautiful scarf around the little girl's head. She took her time, making sure that every fold was perfect and that the scarf felt comfortable and secure. She adjusted the ends so they hung gracefully over Emma's shoulders, and she smoothed down any wrinkles with gentle, loving touches. Emma sat very still during this special moment, hardly daring to breathe. She could feel the expensive silk against her skin, and it felt softer and more luxurious than anything she had ever worn before. The scarf made her feel elegant and sophisticated, like a real princess or a movie star. When Kate finished arranging the scarf, she helped Emma look at herself in the small mirror beside her bed. Emma gasped with delight when she saw her reflection. The beautiful scarf transformed her appearance completely, making her look graceful and lovely instead of sick and tired. For the first time in many months, Emma felt truly beautiful and confident about how she looked. Kate told Emma that the scarf was now hers to keep forever. She explained that every time Emma wore it, she should remember that she was special and loved by many people, including a real princess who thought she was one of the bravest and most wonderful girls in the whole world. Emma touched the beautiful silk scarf with her fingertips, still hardly believing that it was really hers to keep. She looked at herself in the mirror again and again, amazed at how different and special she felt. The scarf made her feel like she had been transformed from a sick little girl into someone magical and important. With a shy smile, Emma asked Kate if she could please take a photograph while wearing the special scarf. She wanted to show her parents and grandmother how beautiful she looked, and she hoped to send the picture to her friends back home who had not seen her since she started her treatments at the hospital. Kate immediately said yes with enthusiasm and joy in her voice. Prince William took out his phone and prepared to take several pictures of Emma and Kate together. He made sure the lighting was just right and that both Emma and Kate were positioned perfectly in the camera frame. He wanted these photographs to be absolutely perfect for Emma to treasure forever. As William snapped picture after picture, Emma's confidence grew stronger and stronger. She sat up straighter, smiled brighter, and even started posing like a real model or princess. Kate laughed with delight at Emma's sudden transformation and joined in with her own poses, making funny faces and elegant gestures that made Emma giggle uncontrollably. After they had taken many wonderful photographs, Kate had a brilliant idea that would make this day even more special and memorable for Emma. She asked the little girl if she had ever experienced a real princess tea party before. Emma's eyes grew wide with excitement as she shook her head no, explaining that she had only read about tea parties in her storybooks. Kate told Emma that they were going to have an official royal tea party right there in her hospital room. Emma clapped her hands together with pure joy and excitement, hardly believing that something so wonderful could really happen to her. She had dreamed about having a tea party with a real princess, but she never imagined it could actually come true. Within just a few minutes, Kate had spoken to the hospital nurses and asked them to bring some cups, saucers, and cookies to Emma's room. The nursing staff was delighted to help make this special tea party happen, and they quickly gathered everything that would be needed for a proper royal celebration. Kate arranged all the tea party supplies on Emma's bedside table with great care and attention to detail. She placed each cup and saucer exactly where they should be, just like the most elegant dining rooms in Buckingham Palace. She folded napkins neatly and arranged small cookies on pretty plates, making sure everything looked absolutely perfect and special. Emma watched every movement Kate made, trying to memorize every detail so she could tell her family exactly how a real princess sets up a tea party. She noticed how Kate handled each item with grace and elegance, and how she made even simple hospital cups and saucers look fancy and important. Prince William joined in the tea party preparations by helping to arrange the chairs and making sure Emma was comfortable and had everything she needed within easy reach. He treated the whole event with the same seriousness and respect he would give to any official royal ceremony, which made Emma feel even more special and honored. As the final preparations were completed, Emma realized that this was already the most amazing day of her entire life. She was wearing a real princess's beautiful scarf. She had taken photographs with royalty, and now she was about to have her very own royal tea party. All of her fairy tale dreams were coming true in ways she had never thought possible. The tea party was about to begin, and Emma felt like the luckiest and most important little girl in the whole world. She sat up as straight and tall as she could, ready to learn how real princesses behave during their elegant tea parties. The royal tea party began in the most wonderful and magical way possible. Kate showed Emma the proper way to hold a teacup, with her pinky finger raised delicately in the air. Emma practiced this elegant gesture several times, giggling each time she tried to copy Kate's graceful movements. Kate patiently corrected Emma's posture and hand position until the little girl felt confident about her new royal skills. Prince William joined the tea party by pretending to be a clumsy prince who had forgotten all of his proper manners. He held his teacup in silly ways and made exaggerated, confused faces when Kate tried to teach him the correct etiquette. Emma laughed so hard at William's funny performance that she nearly spilled her own tea, which made all three of them laugh even harder. William's playful behavior helped Emma feel completely relaxed and comfortable. She realized that even real princes and princesses like to have fun and be silly sometimes. This made her feel less nervous about making mistakes or not knowing the right way to behave during such an important and fancy occasion. As their tea party continued, something unexpected and beautiful began to happen. Other children from nearby hospital rooms started gathering in the doorway of Emma's room. They had heard the sound of laughter and joy coming from inside, and they were curious to see what was causing all the happiness and excitement. Kate immediately noticed the other children watching from the doorway. Without any hesitation, she stood up and walked over to greet them with her warm, welcoming smile. She asked each child their name and invited all of them to join their special royal tea party. The children could hardly believe what they were hearing, and they looked at each other with amazement and delight. Soon, Emma's small hospital room was filled with children of many different ages. There were toddlers who could barely walk, school-aged children like Emma, and even some teenagers who tried to act too cool but were secretly excited to meet real royalty. Some children were in wheelchairs, others had casts on their arms or legs, and many wore scarves or hats like Emma to cover their heads. Kate asked the hospital staff to bring more cups, cookies, and chairs so that everyone could participate properly in their expanding tea party. The nurses and doctors were happy to help, and they quickly brought everything needed to accommodate all the new guests. They had never seen the children's ward so full of laughter and excitement before. Emma felt proud and important as she helped Kate welcome each new friend to their tea party. She introduced herself to children she had never met before and explained that they were having a real royal celebration with an actual princess and prince. The shy little girl who had been hiding by her window just a few hours earlier was now acting like a confident hostess. Prince William helped serve cookies to all the children and made sure everyone felt included and special. He learned each child's name and asked them questions about their favorite colors, their pets at home, and what they wanted to be when they grew up. Every child felt like they were the most important person in the room when William spoke directly to them. Kate taught all the children the proper way to hold their teacups and how to sit with good posture during a fancy tea party. She complimented each child on their good manners and made them feel elegant and sophisticated. Even the youngest children tried their best to follow Kate's instructions and act like proper ladies and gentlemen. As Emma looked around the crowded room, she felt something wonderful happening in her heart. She was surrounded by other children who understood what it was like to be sick and scared, but today none of them felt sick or scared. Today they all felt special, loved, and important because a real prince and princess had chosen to spend time with them and treat them like the most valuable people in the world. As the royal tea party continued, something truly amazing began to happen that nobody had expected or planned. Emma started acting like the perfect hostess, introducing Kate and William to each of her new friends around the room. She told the princess and prince about each child's special qualities and the things that made them unique and interesting. Emma pointed to a little boy named Jake, who was only 5 years old, and explained that he was the best artist in the whole hospital. She told Kate and William that Jake could draw dinosaurs that looked almost real, and that he had been teaching other children how to color inside the lines. Jake's face turned red with happiness and pride when Emma praised his artistic talents in front of royalty. Next, Emma introduced a girl named Sophie who was 7 years old and had been at the hospital for 6 months. Emma explained that Sophie knew everything about butterflies and could name over 50 different types from memory. She said that Sophie had been teaching all the other children about which flowers butterflies liked best and how to tell male butterflies from female butterflies. Emma continued around the room, making sure that Kate and William learned something special about every single child. She told them about Maria, who could speak 3 different languages and helped translate for children whose families spoke Spanish or French. She introduced them to Tommy, who was a math genius, and helped the older kids with their homework assignments. Kate and William were amazed as they watched Emma's transformation. The shy, quiet little girl who had been sitting alone by her window that morning had become a confident leader who made sure everyone around her felt valued and appreciated. Emma seemed to know exactly what each child needed to hear to feel good about themselves. Emma told Kate and William about Sarah, her roommate, who always shared her candy with anyone who felt sad or homesick. She explained that David, who was in a wheelchair, told the funniest jokes and could make anyone laugh even on their worst days. She pointed out Amy, who was only 4 years old but was braver than anyone when it came time for scary medical procedures. Prince William was particularly impressed by how well Emma knew each child's strengths and positive qualities. He realized that Emma had been paying attention to all the other children during her long stay at the hospital, and she had learned to see the best in everyone around her. This was a quality that even many adults never learn to develop. Kate watched Emma with growing admiration and respect. She could see that this little girl had natural leadership abilities and a genuine caring heart. Emma was not just introducing her friends to royalty. She was making sure that each child felt recognized and important. She was giving each of them a moment to shine and feel special. As Emma continued her introductions, the other children began to sit up straighter and smile brighter. They felt proud to be described in such positive ways, and they started to see themselves through Emma's kind and generous eyes. Many of these children had been feeling sad and scared about their illnesses, but Emma's words reminded them of their own strength and value. Kate realized that she was witnessing something very rare and beautiful. Emma was showing her that sometimes the people who are going through the hardest times are also the ones who have the greatest ability to lift up and encourage others. The little girl who needed so much healing was actually the one who was bringing healing to everyone around her. Prince William and Kate exchanged meaningful looks as they continued to listen to Emma's introductions. They both understood that they were learning something important from this brave little girl. Emma was teaching them that true leadership comes from caring about others and helping them see their own worth and potential. By the time Emma had introduced everyone in the room, every single child was glowing with happiness and confidence. They all felt like they had been personally recognized by a princess and prince, thanks to Emma's thoughtful and caring introductions. As the wonderful afternoon began to come to an end, everyone in the room could feel that something very special had happened that they would remember for the rest of their lives. The hospital room that had started the day as a quiet, lonely place had been transformed into a space filled with laughter, friendship, and joy. Every child in the room felt happier and more hopeful than they had in a long time. Prince William and Kate knew that they needed to leave soon because they had other appointments and responsibilities waiting for them. But neither of them wanted this magical afternoon to end, and they could see that the children felt the same way. The time they had spent together had been more meaningful and important than any formal ceremony or official event they had ever attended. Kate knelt down beside Emma's bed and took the little girl's hands in her own. She looked directly into Emma's bright eyes and told her that meeting her had been one of the most special experiences of her entire life. Kate explained that Emma had taught her something very important about courage, kindness, and the power of caring for others. Emma felt tears of happiness starting to form in her eyes. She had never imagined that she could teach anything to a real princess, especially something important. She squeezed Kate's hands gently and whispered a secret that she wanted only the princess to hear. Emma said that meeting Kate and William had made her feel strong enough and brave enough to fight her illness even harder than before. Emma told Kate that knowing real princesses and princes were cheering for her and believing in her made her feel like she could overcome anything. She said that she would wear Kate's beautiful scarf every day and remember that she was loved and supported by people who saw her as special and valuable, not just as a sick little girl who needed to be pitied. Kate promised Emma that she would write letters to her and that she would ask the hospital staff to keep her updated on Emma's progress. She also promised to visit again soon, and she asked Emma to keep drawing pictures and dreaming about her castle with the beautiful garden. Kate said that she believed with all her heart that Emma's dreams would come true. Prince William shook hands with Emma like she was an important adult, showing her the same respect he would give to any dignified person. He told Emma that she was one of the bravest and most inspiring people he had ever met, and that he would never forget the lessons she had taught him about what really mattered in life. As Kate and William prepared to leave, they said goodbye to each child individually. They made sure that every boy and girl felt personally important and remembered. They promised to think about all of them often and to remember the wonderful tea party they had shared together in Emma's hospital room. Emma stood at her window once again, but this time she was not alone and sad. She was surrounded by all her new friends, and she was wearing the most beautiful silk scarf in the world. She waved goodbye to Kate and William as they walked back to their car, feeling like the luckiest and most loved little girl who had ever lived. Prince William and Kate walked slowly across the hospital parking lot, both of them feeling changed by their experience. They had come to the hospital planning to bring comfort and joy to sick children, but instead they had received something much more valuable. They had been reminded of the incredible power of human connection, genuine compassion, and the strength that comes from caring for others. As their car drove away from the hospital, Kate and William carried with them memories that were more precious than any crown jewels or royal treasures. They had learned that the most important moments in life cannot be planned or scheduled, and that sometimes the greatest teachers are the smallest and most vulnerable people who show us what courage and love really look like.